Hi, welcome to the Badass Breastfeeding Podcast. This is Dianne, your lactation consultant.
And I'm Abby, the Badass Breastfeeder. And today's episode is brought to you by Milk by Mom. With innovative freeze drying technology, you can store and transport breast milk effortlessly without compromising its nutritional value. And we're welcoming a new sponsor, Pumpin' Pal.
Welcome.
Pumpin' Pal's angled flanges are here to upgrade your pumping journey. And we will hear more from our sponsors later, but you can head to badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com and check out our sponsor page. If you ever need anything, head over there and see if you can give them any of your business because they make this podcast possible. And while you're there, scroll down and enter your email address, and we'll send you episodes straight to your inbox every week. And we are on Patreon, and we would really like to see you there. We're enjoying our time with our mini podcasts, our extra ad-free episodes, our Zoom hangouts with the patrons and the badasses, I should say. And you can head to the very top link in the show notes under wherever you're listening from. And you can also find it at badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com. You'll find all of our tiers and the benefits. And choose one, and please join us. We have fun things too. Like if you sign up for certain tiers, you get I send you a card with stickers and stuff. And check that out. We're still hosting our ongoing giveaway for people who leave reviews around the internet. Just send us a screenshot and your address to badassbreastfeedingpodcast@gmail.com. And we will send you a goodie bag of stickers. We love stickers. And
we do love stickers.
Dianne really loves stickers.
They're fun. I just got new ones the other day.
Yeah, I got new ones too.
Oh.
I was running out, so
yeah.
Email that your review. Just go somewhere, leave a review. You can leave reviews in a lot of places, and take a screenshot and just email that to badassbreastfeedingpodcast@gmail.com along with your address, and you'll get a little goodie bag. And now Dianne has our review of the week.
I do, and it's a long one, but that's okay because we like those. I was just listening to your episode on low milk supply, and it helped me understand my journey so much better. My son is 11 months old and received some breast milk until about 3 months, but has been formula fed ever since. I desperately wanted to breastfeed, so I read all the books and got all the supplies, but then labor and delivery was very traumatic, unmedicated vaginal birth. I had gestational diabetes, baby was premature, I hemorrhaged and had very low iron, ended up in the ER a week later due to blood loss that was left untreated. Baby was in the NICU for low blood sugar and jaundice, so we didn't get the traditional start. In the ER, they scanned me for a blood clot, so I couldn't breastfeed because of my radiation, which isn't a thing. And meanwhile, my son ended up in the ER at a different hospital with my husband for his jaundice, so it was a full 8 days later that we were finally together at home when I got to start really breastfeeding. I didn't have a consistent lactation consultant at the time, but eventually found one, so got a rental pump so I could double pump since my son was having latching issues. He was syringe fed for 3 weeks because we were trying so hard to breastfeed, but eventually gave in to giving him bottles because he was eating so much. I had so much grief and stress about not being able to breastfeed as a first-time mom. My son ended up also having a lip-tongue tie that was diagnosed at 2 months after birth. Around 4 weeks, his actual due date, I finally started to feel full and gorged, which I had never felt before, and I started to get a tiny bit while pumping, but it was only about 4 ounces in a 24-hour period, which was good for about 1 bottle at that point. I had to release my desire to breastfeed for my own mental health, and it was definitely the right decision at the time. I kept pumping as long as I could, but I had to give that up too for my mental health. I'm hoping to try again next time, so it helps to hear that all of these things that happen can cause low milk supply and it wasn't just my fault. So thank you. This was really important for me to read. I hope she's listening. I don't know if she's still listening or not, but when all of this stuff is stacked against you, it is so not your fault. And even for her to say here at the end, it wasn't just my fault. None of this was her fault. And I really hope that people realize that, you try so hard and you're doing all the things and that sometimes things just get stacked against you, which makes it really, really hard to continue. And none of that is your fault. It just is. And she had a lot of stuff that contributed to that low milk supply. When you don't get that traditional start and you're not able to really start breastfeeding in the beginning, like like your body needs to do to establish a milk supply, it can be really hard to get things going. And she tried for a really, really long time. And that's really hard to do. So thank you so much for listening. And I'm glad that episode helped you. And I hoped it helped others out there who might be listening, because it can be really difficult when you're dealing with low milk. So like a true low milk supply can be really just devastating.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much for listening and for telling us your story, because that's a really, really difficult thing to do. So thank you.
Yeah. People go through so many things.
Oh my gosh.
And push through so many things that it's like we really find out like how strong we are when we become parents.
Oh my goodness, I know. It's just so much. There's so much. I saw somebody the other day that was kind of struggling with what she wanted to do. Hadn't planned to breastfeed, and then decided that she would breastfeed once the baby was born, but then had a bad experience in the hospital. And then, so they kind of then gave it up and said, no, I'm not going to do it now. And then when she got home, really felt that guilt and really wanted to again. So decided that she would pump. So she came to see me so that she could pump. And she was so cute, because she was like making excuses for the people in the hospital, and she's like, well, I know it's their job to, because when I told them, when I told her that I would maybe, that I would like to pump, the lactation consultant made it sound like it would really confuse the baby and that I really shouldn't do that and all this stuff. And I was like, she goes, I understand it's her job for me to, and I'm like, no, it's her job to do what you want to do. That's what her job is.
Yeah.
Her job is to support your decision. That's what her job is to do.
She only has one job, and that's what it is.
To support you. Yeah. That's what the job is. And it was just like, it can be really difficult when you are going through something. And, and she was struggling. She had a C-section. She was struggling with her own recovery. It can be a lot when your own body isn't right, and then you're trying to sustain another life on top of it. That's really hard to do. So give yourself a little bit of peace and patience and time. And I can't even sometimes.
Yeah. And that's how so many of us grew up, being told like, okay, just don't make waves. Just, just be polite, just go with the flow. And then if you just keep doing that, then you get into this big hospital system and the healthcare system, and you just get pushed around.
You do. You don't want to say anything.
Yeah. And that's how so many people end up really finding their voices after becoming a parent.
I agree.
Because you're like, this has to stop.
Yeah. Because once it's like, it's okay if it's me, but you're not messing with my kid. You know what I mean? Like, that's really how you start to feel. And then you really start standing up and saying something. Because I know, like, I never had a voice until I had kids. And then I really had a voice.
Yeah.
And then people didn't like me very much, and I didn't care. So, like in the school system and stuff, I was in their faces all the time. And they didn't like it, but it didn't matter. I didn't care.
Yeah. Who gives a shit?
Right.
Yeah. And you don't care about making friends when you have when you're a parent, because you're like, that's not like, I don't need that anymore. No, I'm a parent, and that's number one. And if I lose these people, then whatever.
Right. Exactly.
Or if they don't like me,
welcome everybody to that life.
Yes.
You're all here now.
And here's another thing where you might make cause some friction is over the holidays.
Yes. Welcome to the holidays.
This is a time for everyone's favorite, friction time of the year.
I tell you, with my first son, he was born in July. So he was like 6 months when his first Christmas came around. Oh, look at that. So it was like 6 months at Christmas time. So My dad had suffered a pretty significant stroke, though, right before Christmas, about 10 days before Christmas that year, and was in the hospital. And my mom was there, at the hospital all the time and stuff. So we kind of like didn't do Christmas that year because of it. And when my dad came home from the hospital, then we did like a delayed Christmas. So we didn't have our typical Christmas. And then when the twins were born in November. That year, we had like a huge snowstorm around Christmas. So we didn't leave the house because I wasn't leaving the house with 2-month-old babies. And that was it. So I really didn't have that. I didn't have to worry about it when they were super babies during holiday time.
You're so lucky.
I got so lucky. I got so lucky. Yeah.
All these people giving birth during like the pandemic too. You're so lucky to give birth during a pandemic. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. It's not lucky, but I mean, it's like I remember our first Christmas with Jack. Jack was like 6 months old, 5 months old. He was born at the end of July, and we were over at my parents' house, like we do all of Christmas. And, he's the first grandchild. It's the first Christmas with the grandchild, and everyone's there. Also, we had never had a grandchild in the family before. So it was on top of the holidays. It was also just everybody adjusting to this. And everyone was so involved. Like my parents were just like so involved. And here, like, no, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. No. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, I'm the fucking parent. Not you. We are not all co-parenting. This is not like some weird commune where like, and of course, like we always kind of glorify the living in the village type setting where everyone is there, helping with the baby. But like the parent is the ultimate, like that's their child. And you're there supporting and helping this person to parent, but you're not just like getting involved and like taking over the baby and here, this is my baby and here we're going to, we can do this and that and just decide shit for the baby. Just put mashed potatoes in their mouth or, whatever when you're not wanting to. Anyway, my point is when Christmas morning, we're opening all these presents and everyone's giving Jack all of these like crazy, insane, battery operated, loud moving things. And like,
oh my God.
I remember him sitting there. He was literally like vibrating and his eyes were like bugging out of his head. And I was like, okay, this is a bit much. And my dad's like, just let him play with it. You guys let him play with it. Let him get that thing. Let him play with it. And I was like, oh my God. He is like, look at him.
Totally overstimulated.
He is like wholly stimulated. Oh my God. And it was so like, I had this really weird, like just, it was he was like a circus act.
Oh my God.
Like a freak show, I'm like, no, he is not a toy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah. I feel like people, if you have a family like that, then it's stressful. I guess not every family's like that. I don't know where you are. Congratulations to you.
I think one of the hardest things, congratulations. I think one of the hardest things is that you have to do like in a lot of situations, not your situation for Christmas, because Josh's family lives in another state. So you don't have to like bounce around, which is nice. But a lot of people do have to like, or Christmas is like, do Christmas Eve in one place and Christmas Day in another, or maybe you don't celebrate Christmas, maybe you celebrate something else. So you got to do, bounce around through families. And it's really hard when you have to drag this baby to multiple places. And it's like overstimulating and you're off your routine and it can just be really difficult. And then if you're unsure about breastfeeding in those places, I used to just like escape to another room. I used to be like, oh yeah, the baby's got to eat, because it was a break. It was a break for us. And I think that was really helpful. Just to kind of get away for a few minutes.
I think that's key. That is key for the holidays, is taking those breaks and going into a dark room and just being in there every once in a while, giving your baby a break and yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really important. I think you need to do that. And your baby's going to need a break. And people want you to pass them around. Oh, let me hold the baby and all this stuff. And it's like, come on. Like, really? Everybody with their germy selves at the holidays wanted to touch your baby.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I like the idea of having baby in a carrier.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you're sitting down, just be like, oh, yeah, he needs to be in a carrier. Or just be like, ooh, this is a good one. I'm just thinking of this right now. Being like, yeah, we woke up this morning and he's got like a little, like his nose is a little runny. Looks like he might be coming down with something. So we're really trying to I'm just trying to hold him and help him like sleep it off.
That's a good idea.
And
they
then
don't know the difference.
Like,
people don't know.
They don't fucking know. This is going to be, listen. This is going to be your first experience of many, many, many where you use your kids as an excuse. Like, yes. It's fine. Just do it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know. It doesn't matter if they know. But they don't know. And just do it. You're doing it to protect yourself and your baby and your boundaries. And if you're doing that, then you're allowed to do whatever you want to do to protect yourself and your boundaries.
It's just too much.
And if you have a new baby and this is your first Christmas and all of that, like it's going to be hard. Like I feel like maybe it's not hard for some people, but I feel like the whole big family gathering and it's going to be hard. And this is going to be where this is your time to really start practicing those boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all on you. And it sucks that it has to be all on you, but it's going to be.
Yeah. Especially if you have like those in-laws that are a little bit, I don't know, needy. What's the right word? Overbearing.
Yeah. All those.
Want to get in your business, all those things. Or your own parents that might be needy or overbearing. It can be really, really difficult. Why don't we take a break and then we're going to talk about things that you can do.
Yeah.
And ways to get around holidays.
Yes, we'll be right back.
You're a new sponsor.
Oh, yes, our new sponsor, I'll start with that one. Today's episode is sponsored by Pumpin' Pal. Pumpin' Pal's angled flanges are here to upgrade your pumping journey. Designed by a caring father to help his wife pump, the angled flange is the answer for parents needing something different than the common shape of the standard flange that comes with your pump. Pumpin' Pal flanges are designed to help improve your flow of milk and not constrict your milk ducts because of the way the flanges are able to shape around the natural angle of the breast. Pumpin' Pal offers medical-grade silicone flanges designed specifically for parents that would be considered to have elastic nipples. This type of silicone is made to hold on to the breast tissue so that your nipple is not being pulled deep into the tunnel, like we see with hard plastic flanges. Pumpin' Pal now has a new milk storage bag that has a thermal sensor on the bag to help you indicate when the milk is too hot, too cold, or just right. And you can now try 5 bags and their new sterilizer bag for free if you just pay the $2.99 for shipping and handling. Use code BADASS at checkout at pumpinpal.com and also get $4 off of your total order. That's pumpinpal.com, pumpinpal.com. Today's episode is also brought to you by Milk by Mom. For moms who know the importance of providing the very best for their babies, we're thrilled to introduce a game-changing solution. Milk by Mom is on a mission to modernize how we nourish breastfed infants, offering the convenience and flexibility of formula while preserving all the goodness of breast milk. With innovative breast milk freeze-drying technology, you can now store and transport breast milk effortlessly without compromising its nutritional value. This movement, spearheaded by founder Tirza, is all about empowering breastfeeding mothers and educating parents on the incredible benefits of breast milk. Don't miss this opportunity to provide your baby with the best. Head to milkbymom.com and use code BADASS for 10% off of your order. So this will freeze dry your breast milk into a powder that you can use to store your milk, to transport your milk if you're moving. If you have a ton of milk that you are running out of time to use, or you don't know what to do with, or you just need to, or you're in an area where your power goes out a lot. Did I already say that?
No, but that's a good one.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes. So head to milkbymom.com and use code BADASS and you 10% off of your order. And our sponsors and their promo codes can be found in our show notes under this episode, wherever you're listening from, and also over at badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com, where you will find information about scheduling your very own one-on-one online lactation consultation with Dianne.
Yes. So holidays, whatever that holiday might be that you celebrate. A couple of things that come up a lot is like drinking. That comes up a lot.
Yes, we should talk about that.
Yes. And alcohol is absolutely fine. I was on, it must have been Instagram, I think, and was just scrolling yesterday and saw that this one thing, it was like from a lactation group. And I can't remember which one it was. And it was talking about like, it's fine to drink alcohol, for the holidays and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And the freaking comments, man, people are like, why would you put that poison in your baby? I would never put alcohol in my baby's mouth. Why would you do that? And blah, all this stuff. And it's like, and then you got people who are like, that's not, and there was one person who was very educated on it and like, trying to educate people about it. But, people are ridiculous. And
I always get
shameful.
tagged in those conversations, which I love. People are like, you really need to check out the Badass Breastfeeding podcast, and because your information is wrong. I love it that there are people out there that have the good information. But yeah, there's so much fear mongering around this, and it's not based on science.
And shaming. We have so much shaming around it.
And we have episodes on this, so we don't need to go into like the whole entire thing. But alcohol does get into your breast milk at amounts that are clinically insignificant, and it is metabolized out of your breast milk the same as it is metabolized out of your blood, because your breast milk is a blood product, and it happens the exact same way. A lot of people, some people will, breastfeed their baby and then they'll have a drink and then they'll wait, 2 hours to breastfeed their baby, because that's like how long basically it takes to metabolize alcohol. You don't need to do that. That's the amount of alcohol in your milk is not, it's not enough for you to have to do that. You will be with incredibly deadly alcohol poisoning way before your breast milk ever gets the alcohol content of like orange juice.
That's what this person was putting in there. The person that was talking sensibly was like, you'd be dead. So,
dead from alcohol before your baby had enough alcohol from your breast milk for it to affect them at all. People say like, oh, my baby, your baby's going to get tipsy. Or, I mean, it's just, these things are just wrong. They are just wrong. That, I'm not saying, well, here, there are things that you need to be careful about. Alcohol in your breast milk is not one of them. Breastfeed your baby. If you are going to get drunk, which is fine, like we said, you can still breastfeed, but if you're going to be drunk or tipsy or whatever, you need to make sure that you have someone there who is not, who can make sure that you're being safe with your baby. We're just talking about like dropping your baby or falling asleep on your baby. If you are going to be drinking, do not share a bed with your baby. Do not bed share. We're big proponents of bed sharing on this podcast, but if you are drinking, it is dangerous. Don't do it. So always make sure that you have someone there. and maybe you can say you work it out with your partner. Like, I don't know, like Christmas Eve, you drink, and then Christmas Day dinner, I'll drink, or, you just work it out with somebody. Or maybe you've got like I don't drink anymore. So I'm always like the person now who's like, I'll drive you. I can drive. I can do all this. And so just have someone. If you have an aunt who's, who doesn't drink, then just be like, hey, can you make sure that we're good? And make sure they know also that it's their job to make sure you're okay, because you don't just assume. But yeah, so that's the like quick and dirty of it.
But definitely, like, if you're interested, like, it's totally fine to do, but be prepared that somebody might say something to you if they see you drinking. So maybe listen to one of the old episodes about alcohol and get the information if you need more information than what Abby just told you right now, so that you can tell people why it's safe. And this has been like, we're not just telling you this, there's research behind this. Alcohol has been around for a really long time. There's a lot of research behind this, and all the research says it's not a reason to not breastfeed. Absolutely not. It is not a reason to not breastfeed your baby. There's no need to pump and dump your milk. There's no need to abstain from breastfeeding. It's totally fine, but you might get some pushback from some family member who thinks that they're smart Alex and want to say something to you. And
yeah, and you can just tell them like, yeah, that's what people used to say before they actually had research on it. And so now they have research on it, and this is what the research says. And so, it's actually, yeah, that's just old information.
Yeah.
You have outdated information. And don't use those alcohol test strips.
Oh, no. I don't even, are they still around?
Yes.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
If you breathe near alcohol, they will set those test strips off.
So ridiculous.
They're not accurate. It's fucking insane. Just because it's one of those things, it's like, just because you can do it, just because we invented something that can, like, doesn't mean that it's useful.
So
it's actually useful. Very not useful, because it doesn't give you any kind of information that you need.
No. It's ridiculous.
So there's that. It is totally ridiculous.
You don't need to separate the milk.
Make sure,
like, it's, like sometimes people will, like, if they pump anyway, like say you're, out away from maybe your baby's not with you and you pump while you're, after you've had a couple drinks, you don't need to separate that milk from other milk that you've pumped and say, this is my alcohol milk or anything like that. Like, you don't need to worry about any of that stuff.
This is an alcoholic beverage now.
I know. Exactly.
No, it doesn't work like that. It's all good. Just be safe with your baby. You need to be safe.
Yeah.
Because people drinking don't make good decisions. And that's the same as if you're parenting. Just make sure someone's there who's sober, and don't bed share.
Yes. No, do not do that. Do not do that at all. But yeah, and most people,
so
like,
what else?
When they're drinking, they only want to have like one drink and then it's fine. And,
whatever. I don't know who those people are. I don't know who those people are either.
Oh my goodness. So food, you can eat whatever you want to during the holiday time. I mean, if you are not having any problems, like if your baby does not have like a cow's milk protein allergy or whatever, and or sensitivity, and you're eating whatever you want anyway, because sometimes people will say, oh, if you eat too much of peppermint, it's going to dry your milk supply up. If you would have that would have to be a lot of peppermint. So,
I mean, how is it? Yeah. I mean, you're not injecting it into your
sage. Sage is another one. That people say dry up your milk. I think it would have to be quite a bit. You would have to ingest a lot to have it really impact your milk supply. So I think you can feel pretty confident that if you want to have that Christmas cookie that has a little peppermint in it, you're fine.
Yeah, please. Yes.
It's totally okay to do.
Suck on all the candy canes. This is not what is going to be ruining your breastfeeding journey. Eat, drink, and be merry.
Yeah, just live your life through the holidays. It's hard enough, right? Like, it's hard enough to deal with holiday stuff. And what about when people buy like how you experience with people buying your baby things that you don't really want them to have?
Ugh.
Like,
yeah, I just say thank you. And then when we bring it home, I just hide it because they're babies. They don't even know.
they don't know.
So just, whatever. Say, oh, thank you. That's great. And then just put it in the garbage when you get home. Or put it in a box, and bring it out when Aunt Sally's there.
I think one of the most
whatever.
difficult...
I mean, you don't have to go through great lengths to make people happy or to, I mean, I don't know. I guess you could at Christmas morning, like be like, oh, we don't really want him to have this. But like, I don't know.
You just got to deal with it. Yeah, you just got to deal with it. The one other thing that happens probably more than anything else you're going to get is unsolicited advice. Just, and you have to decide how you want to deal with that. Do you want to just smile and nod? Do you want to have a discussion with people? Do you want to tell them, this is how I've decided to parent. It works for us. Like whatever it is that you're doing, whether it be bedtime or breastfeeding or food or, whatever, depending on the age of your baby. Oh, let them have a little bit of that. It's the holidays, maybe with your, 6-7 month old, let them have some of this. Let them have some of that. It's the holiday time. Let them have this cookie. Let them have, and you don't want them to have it. I mean, there's a lot of unsolicited things that go on. Why can't you let the baby stay up later? It's the holiday time. If it's something that's not comfortable for you, don't feel like you need to give in because it's the holidays, because people are trying to give you unsolicited advice. Oh, I did it and it was fine.
Yeah. And usually people are drinking and then they get more obnoxious with their requests and their demands and their advice. And it's like just so annoying.
So annoying.
But again, with the baby in the carrier that's not feeling so well, I think you should go with that.
Yeah, that's a good one. And if you keep your baby in a carrier,
let him have some of this cookie. Oh, I don't know. I don't think now's a good time. He's just really not feeling very well.
Yeah. If your baby's in a carrier, they're going to be less likely to try to get all over them and try touching them and all that stuff.
Also, if you're nursing them, if you're okay with just pulling your boob out and nursing them, people will be like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Just, just take your shirt off and nurse them.
Take your shirt off.
Hi.
Just
I'm
just
here.
undress from the waist up. If you really want to give it to those people.
You really want to have a story to remember, or Christmas to remember.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of holidays can be really overwhelming and they're tiring and overstimulating for your baby. I mean, just think about your baby's going from being with you to now being in a room full of people. And sometimes it could be loud and there might be music playing or there might be a football game on or there might be, all kinds of stuff going on. And that can be other kids playing if there's, depending on how big your family is. Maybe they're not the first grandchild. Maybe they're the 8th grandchild. And there's all these other little kids there, that's how it was in our family.
Yeah.
And there's a lot going on. Different conversations, that's very overstimulating for a baby. And try to, like we said earlier, maybe take a few breaks here and there, take a break, bring your baby into a dark room, a little bit of quiet, less stimulation, just to kind of regroup and go back again. But just try to put yourself in the position of your baby where things are going to be a little bit overwhelming and a little bit much. But you'll survive.
Yeah. Yeah, you will. And try to have fun and just, eat and drink all the things. It's fine.
Yeah, it's totally fine. You might need to if you got to deal with family.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can go in the other room. Just be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to change his diaper and give him a feed and bring a little glass of wine in there with a plate of something and just hang out in there for a minute.
I know. Sounds like a best way to spend a holiday.
I know. It sounds great.
And use your baby as an excuse. We got to leave early.
Yep. That's a perfect excuse.
Yeah. If you need to, if you feel like you need to, it's there. And that's it.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.